Welcome to today's Explainer, where we take complex textual history and make it visually crystal clear. Today we're diving deep into the hidden architecture of biblical history, specifically looking at chapters 10 and 11 of the book of Joshua. Now, on the surface, you might read this and think it's just ancient military history, right? Armies clashing, cities falling, land changing hands. But if we look closer, the text is actually doing something much, much bigger. Seriously, think about this. What if one of the Bible's most famous military conquests wasn't actually about human warfare at all? We're going to peel back the layers of what looks like standard, dusty military history to reveal a thrilling, multi-dimensional, cosmic courtroom drama. Because this isn't just a battle for dirt and rocks. It is a full-on assault against a rival spiritual order. All right, let's get into it. Section 1. The Cosmic War begins. So it all kicks off with a treaty. When the mighty city of Gibeon defected to Joshua, the southern kings completely panicked. But why? Well, it comes down to this concept of cosmic geography. This is the ancient worldview where land literally equals spiritual inheritance, and territories are governed by unseen cosmic powers. So the Amorite kings were terrified, but not just by the politics or military strategy of it all. They were terrified by a massive jurisdictional breach in their cosmic geography. You see, Gibeon didn't just switch political sides, they defected to Yahweh's covenant order. It was a cosmic defection that threatened to collapse their entire sacred system. Which brings us to Section 2, the counterfeit kings. These southern kings aren't just random bad guys. They represent an entire anti-Yahweh civilization. It's a counterfeit system mimicking God's order. Notice the leader of this coalition, Adoni-Zedek, the king of Jerusalem. Get this. His name actually means Lord of Righteousness. This is a direct, deeply ironic contrast to the true priest-king we saw way back in Genesis, Melchizedek of Salem, which means King of Righteousness. The text is very deliberately presenting Adoni-Zedek as a counterfeit. He completely embodies this self-defined human righteousness that's attempting to rule over a rival sacred center. And that deep irony, it extends across the entire coalition. We already saw the false Lord of Righteousness. Then we have Hoham of Hebron. Now, Hebron is a city deeply associated with covenant fellowship. Think of Abraham. But here, it's a corrupted alliance against God. Then there's Purim of Jarmuth, which represents untamed rebellion. It's literally like a wild donkey refusing God's restraint. Japhia of Lachish means shining or splendid, symbolizing human glory totally detached from divine authority. And Dibber of Eglon, well, Dibber can mean oracle or sanctuary, literally a counterfeit holy place. Together, these 5 kings form a complete counterfeit Babel system uniting against Yahweh. Moving on to Section 3, Weapons of the Heavens. When the kings besiege Gibeon, Joshua initiates a sudden overnight rescue mission. But when he arrives, something absolutely incredible happens. Notice this detail from the text. More Amorites died from heavenly hailstones than from the swords of the Israelites. Let that sink in. The crucial point here is that this battle was fundamentally Yahweh's. The text intentionally subordinates human warfare to divine judgment. These hailstones are a divine recreation weapon against the forces of chaos, and it totally echoes the plagues of Egypt. The heavens themselves are being weaponized against the Amorite order, which leads right into one of the most famous and honestly most misunderstood moments in the whole Bible. Joshua speaks to the Lord and then commands, "Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Aijalon." Now, a lot of people think this was just some weird weather anomaly, or maybe Joshua just needing a longer workday to finish the battle. No way. In the ancient world, the sun and moon were heavily associated with divine rulership and cosmic order. By commanding them, Joshua is making a direct anti-deification polemic. He is proving Yahweh's absolute sovereignty over the Amorite celestial gods. Time itself is stretched and interrupted until God's judgment is totally complete. Let's look at what happens next in Section 4, Judgment in the Cave. So, with the heavens literally frozen above them, the 5 kings flee into an underworld cave at Makkedah. But this doesn't just turn into some chaotic battlefield execution. It becomes a meticulously staged legal closure. First, they flee. Next, Joshua orders the cave sealed with large stones, which basically transforms their hiding place into a judicial prison. After the battle stabilizes, they're brought out and exposed. Then comes this critical symbolic moment. The captains put their feet on the kings' necks. After that, they are executed and hanged on trees as a massive public spectacle of judgment. Finally, at sunset, adhering strictly to covenant law, they are entombed back in the exact same cave where they tried to hide. Let's actually look a little closer at that fourth step. Placing feet on the king's necks isn't just about ancient military chest pounding, it reveals incredible hidden theological depth. This action physically echoes and reverses Genesis 3:15. It visually represents crushing the serpent's seed. Joshua's actions right here are a prototype of the ultimate dominion over evil, where the hostile powers are permanently subjected beneath the feet of God's covenant people. After the kings are judged, Joshua embarks on a southern campaign to capture their cities. The text repeatedly uses a very specific term to describe what happens next: harem. Now, this translates to utterly destroyed, but it's really important we define it properly. Harem is a sacred devotion to judgment. It's a severe anti-idolatry purge designed to completely remove these rival cosmic systems from the land, essentially resetting the sacred geography so it can become Yahweh's territory. What follows in the text is this rapid, highly repetitive list of conquest. Makkedah is destroyed, Libnah destroyed, Lachish, Eglon, Hebron, Debir, all destroyed. It reads almost like a liturgy. This fast-paced list conveys the relentless judicial rhythm of the southern campaign. It's a complete territorial purge, dismantling the entire anti-temple network, city by city. Section 5, the Northern Rebellion. But wait, the cosmic war isn't over. The spiritual powers actually doubled down, moving from a regional panic in the south to a massive, organized northern coalition led by King Gibeon of Hazor. Now, Hazor was the absolute largest Canaanite city, the true head of these kingdoms. And Gibeon's name literally means the wise one or the discerning one. So while the southern coalition was all about false righteousness, Gibeon and Hazor represent institutionalized rebellion and counterfeit wisdom. It's humanity claiming to possess ultimate intelligence completely apart from God. And they shift their tactics here. They gather an army like the sand on the seashore, relying heavily on horses and chariots to try and overwhelm the divine advance. But Yahweh's command to Joshua is astonishing. He tells him to hamstring the horses and burn the chariots. Why on earth would you destroy the best military tech of the day? Well, because we have to return to the ultimate thesis of these chapters. The Lord fought for Israel. God explicitly commands the Israelites to utterly reject human military self-reliance. They are absolutely not allowed to adopt the Canaanite war machine. Their victory has to be completely dependent on divine power, proving once and for all that human chariots are totally useless against the creator of the cosmos. And finally, Section 6, the ultimate rest. After completely dismantling that northern coalition, the text says the land finally rested from war. But here is the massive typological signpost we can't miss. The earthly Joshua, whose name in Hebrew is Yeshua, only brought a temporary rest to the land by dismantling ancient regional powers. The earthly Yeshua points directly forward to the ultimate Yeshua, the cosmic Christ. Where Joshua disarmed regional Canaanite kings, the New Testament tells us in Colossians that Christ disarmed all principalities and powers, making a public spectacle of them on the cross to bring ultimate, eternal cosmic rest. Which leaves us with this provocative thought to close out our explainer today. If Joshua's earthly conquest systematically dismantled the ancient geographical powers of his day, what unseen cosmic powers are currently being disarmed and driven out by the true king right now? You see, the cosmic war didn't just end in the Bronze Age, it just shifted battlefields. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the hidden architecture of biblical history. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.